Hi guys, and welcome back to History Help For You. This is going to be our last lesson on Mary the First, and we're just going to be looking at Mary's reign, generally speaking, and the kind of transition to going into Elizabeth, kind of reassessing Mary. So this is just a quick recap on sort of the economic reform. She was able to consolidate the revenue courts. That was kind of combining the smaller courts together, and also made the Book of Rates, updating custom duties to reflect inflation and trade values. However, while there was some debasement, she helped to restore some of the silver content, and the crown's solvency improved from inflation. There's quite a big debate about the sort of Mid-Tudor Crisis, and there's also kind of a debate about the years. Some people go as far back, I think it's like 1536 to they can go as far forward as like 1563, I think they do. But I sort of consider the Mid-Tudor Crisis, and Pollard does, as Edward and Mary. That being 1547 to 1558. And there's sort of different perspectives. Pollard said that the weak government and structural instability led to chaos. The sort of traditional sort of historians often believe that Mary's reign was a failure because there was religious persecution, loss of Calais, stuff like that. Whereas revisionists would speak about her sort of naval reform and the sort of administrative continuity. One sort of thing that I would say is that if you're speaking about this in kind of an exam question, it is completely up to you on sort of which side of the fence you sit on. However, I would also suggest to pick a side, because sitting on the fence, it might hurt. As I used to be told, sitting on the fence you'd get a sore bum. So pick a side. Do you reckon it was a failure or was it a success? I traditionally lean towards more a failure, but I think it's completely up to you. Religious policies. This is sort of like a mix. That was a failure because she tried to restore Catholicism. Long term, it didn't really work, and kind of by burning the heretic Protestants, it kind of led more sympathy and empathy. And yeah, restoring Catholicism did not really work long term. Foreign policy, war with France and the loss of Calais, damned sort of prestige and trade, and also the Spanish marriage that was meant to help England ended up hindering them. Government administration, though, however, maintained parliamentary authority. Crown finance was massively improved, and naval reform. There was some naval expansions that helped. That would later help Elizabeth. However, there's sort of disputes about sort of what the kingdom looked like in 1558. Say that the crown was solvent and well administered. While there was high inflation and harvest failures, there was no widespread rebellion. However, that's kind of not acknowledging widespread rebellion. So there hadn't been a rebellion in a while, 4 years. Mary wasn't on the throne for very long. England didn't have a very high international standing after the loss of Calais, but them being allied with Spain sort of did offer them protection, and I guess you could say kind of like made them a bit higher up in the kind of European hierarchy. But I mean, again, it's sort of like up to what you believe. But yeah, it says here that Catholicism was officially restored. It was, but just not very well, and for not very long, because religion within the Tudors is a bit like a table tennis match or a ping pong, depends how you look at it. So it goes from like slightly Protestant, mainly Catholic within Henry VIII, to full Protestant, to full Catholic, to full Protestant again. So yeah, it's a bit. I bet it must have been bad to be either Protestant or Catholic at the time. The sort of legacy of Mary I is complex. She wasn't a flawless ruler. You don't really have any sort of flawless rulers. She helped to revive the finances of the monarchy and sort of England as a whole, stabilise the government, but her sort of religious policies and foreign sort of policies are generally seen as failures. Yeah, but again, it's sort of down to how you kind of perceive Mary to kind of judge her, and what sort of categories you want to judge her on. So if obviously you won't get a question on her specifically in an exam because it's not a long enough period, but I think you could potentially get a source on her that could speak about it. Anyway, we'll be moving on to Elizabeth shortly, and that will take quite a while to work through all the content, but then we will have all of the Tudors content completely done. So yeah, I'm going to try and work on that as soon as I can. So thank you guys, and I shall see you in the next video.